Thank you all for joining us tonight here at the 23rd Annual Edmund S. Muskie Access to Justice Dinner. We encourage you to start eating. Please begin your meal while we provide some introductory remarks. My name is Bill Black. I'm an attorney living in Portland, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Muskie Dinner Committee.
Hi, my name is Rachel Green. I'm an attorney at Unum Law and Bill's co-chair on the Muskie Dinner Committee.
We are very excited tonight to be honoring Mary Ellen Lindemann with the Muskie Access to Justice Award. I practiced earlier, but I hadn't made that mistake. So we're excited to give the award to Mary Ellen Lindemann. She deserves it. You will be hearing about Mary Ellen throughout the evening, but I'm going to start with a few words about Senator Muskie, the namesake for this award. Most of you are already familiar with the details of Senator Muskie's life and distinguished career. The narrative of the Rumford-born son of Polish immigrants who rose to the positions of Governor of Maine, United States Senator, and Secretary of State. In fact, at least a few of you in this room knew and worked with Senator Muskie over the years. So rather than rehashing his biography, we'd like to touch on a few of the more poignant reasons that Senator Muskie's life and work inspired this award. An award that raises money for 6 nonprofit civil legal aid organizations in Maine, organizations that advance access to justice for all in Maine, particularly those who are socially or economically disadvantaged. The obvious place to start is Senator Muskie's service in 1988 as chair of the newly formed Commission on Legal Needs. That commission was formed and charged by the Maine Bar Foundation with studying the legal needs of Maine residents. At public hearings throughout the state, Senator Muskie heard firsthand, over and over again, the frustration and demoralization that low-income people felt at not being able to access the courts or receive a fair hearing because they lacked the funds to pay for counsel. Senator Muskie prefaced the report of the Commission on Legal Needs by saying that assurances of equal justice appear to the poor to be meant for others. Their experience in the pursuit of justice has been frustration, loss of dignity, and all too often, denial. Understandably, their faith in the legal system has been shaken. The problem carries implications for all of our society. It concerns the most basic principles of our social and legal order.
You've probably heard that quote before if you've attended a previous Muskie dinner. But in reading about Senator Muskie, I came across another quote that struck me. Senator Muskie said, "The truth is that Americans born in this great tradition of humanism still yield to prejudice and practice discrimination against other Americans. The truth is, having developed patterns and ways of living which reflect these shortcomings and weaknesses, we find it burdensome and difficult and all too often unacceptable to do the uncomfortable things that we all must do to right the wrongs of our society." Now, in my research about Senator Muskie, particularly in reading a number of firsthand oral histories that have been archived in the Bates College Edmund S. Muskie Oral History Collection, I realized something else about Senator Muskie, namely that he was a difficult man to work with. Some descriptions of him that I came across were gruff, intimidating, demanding, short-tempered, imposing, taskmaster. But to paraphrase the senator himself, it can be burdensome and difficult to do the uncomfortable things necessary to right the wrongs of our society. Writing about Senator Muskie in the Cornell International Law Journal, George Mitchell stated that he will be remembered for the quality of his mind, the toughness, the rigor, the common sense, and for another quality, the courage to take risks for what he saw as right. Senator Muskie did not inspire this award because he authored a compelling commission report. He inspired it because after completing the task of studying the problem of access to justice, he continued to do the hard work of trying to remedy it. In order to continue and to honor this work, the award bearing his name honors commitment to the public good, advanced through hard thinking, deep feeling, a voice of eloquent civility, and a passion for justice.
It is our, it is our profound honor tonight to bestow the 2018 Senator Muskie Access to Justice Award on Mary Ellen Lindemann. Co-founder, as you all know, and community builder at Coffee by Design. Mary Ellen, like Senator Muskie, has the courage to take risks for what she sees as right. She demonstrates her commitment to fighting prejudice and injustice in all she does, in running a business that is a model of social responsibility, in creating coffee houses that are places of community, in volunteering her time to advance causes of social justice, and in making personal connections that impact lives as far away as Burundi and as close as her own backyard. However, Mary Ellen has defied Senator Muskie in one aspect. While he described those undertakings as sometimes burdensome, difficult, and uncomfortable, Mary Ellen does them with grace, passion, and joy. Throughout the evening, we will hear more about the inspiring work of Mary Ellen.
We would like to take a moment to thank the generous sponsors who have helped make this dinner a financial success, raising thousands of dollars for civil legal aid in Maine. First, a very special thank you to our underwriters, Hancock Lumber and the Maine Justice Foundation. We also want to extend a special thanks to our corporate sponsors, the Camden Foundation, Central Maine Power, Coffee by Design, and LL Bean. And we thank all of our table patrons who are listed on the screens next to me. As you can see, we had 24 businesses support this event as table patrons. Thank you all for your support.
In addition to Mary Ellen Lindemann and her family, we are honored to have many dignitaries here tonight. The list is impressive. I will read it. Please hold your applause until the end. In attendance, we have 9 past honorees of the Muskie Dinner Award. The Unum Law Department, Maddie Corson, Bob Hershon, Ellie and Charlie Miller, former Chief Justice Dan Wathen, Dr. Robert McAfee, Harold Pacius, and Bill Harwood. Sadly, this past winter, we lost Mert Henry, whom we honored with the Muskie Award in 2006. From the federal judiciary, we welcome Judge Kermit Lopez of the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit, Magistrate Judge John Rich of the United States District Court for the District of Maine, Chief Judge Peter Carey of the United States Bankruptcy Court for the District of Maine, and Magistrate Judge David Cohen, now retired, of the United States District Court for the District of Maine. From the state judiciary, Chief Justice Lee Softly of the Maine Supreme Judicial Court, Judge Peter Darwin, and Judge Dan Driscoll of the Maine District Court, retired Justice Kevin Cuddy, and retired Judge David Kennedy. Please help me welcome them all.
We'd also like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our dinner committee members, whose names are listed on the screens next to me, again. They've done an incredible job making this evening such a success. They've been participants in multiple brainstorming sessions, reached out to many of you to secure the outstanding attendance and support that we have here tonight, so thank you all. We have a great program planned for this evening. I'll give you a quick rundown. After the dinner, we'll hear from Sue Roche, the Executive Director of the Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project, who will be speaking on behalf of the 6 organizations that are the beneficiaries of this dinner. After Sue, we'll watch a short video tribute to Mary Ellen Lindemann, followed by 2 speakers and the presentation of the award. Following our program, we hope you'll join us for coffee and dessert in the reception area. Please enjoy your meal.
To welcome you all on behalf of the 6 civil legal aid providers who benefit from the proceeds of the dinner this evening. The Cumberland Legal Aid Clinic, Legal Services for the Elderly, the Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project, Maine Equal Justice Partners, Pine Tree Legal Assistance, and the Volunteer Lawyers Project. First, I'd like to start off by thanking all of the volunteers who served on the dinner committee, and especially to the co-chairs, Bill Black and Rachel Green. I've been so impressed by the energy and creativity they put into planning this event, and I think it really paid off. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Helen Meyer from Pine Tree Legal Assistance. She's really, every year, the magic behind making this event happen, from every tiny detail to the biggest details. I'm always so amazed by her ability to have complete grace and calm under any circumstances, no matter how many things she's juggling and no matter how many complications arise. It's just amazing. And thanks so much to all of you for being here this evening. We're grateful for your support, for being here at this dinner, for your support to the Campaign for Justice, and for the many hours of pro bono service that many of you provide to the organizations and the clients. You're supporting a partnership between 6 organizations that fill specific, unique legal needs throughout the state of Maine. Because we work closely together, we are able to ensure that we don't duplicate services, and we collaborate and complement each other's work to increase our impact. And the impact is best understood through the stories of our clients. These are stories we see in our offices every day. Thousands of lives that are changed because people had an attorney. Whether it's a domestic violence survivor who is able to find protection and custody of her children through a protection order and divorce. Whether it's an elderly woman who's able to remain in her home. Or an asylum seeker who's able to remain in the country and avoid deportation and torture. Or whether it's the thousands of people who are impacted when systemic advocacy is used to protect the basic needs and human rights of our most vulnerable residents. We all know that the legal system cannot work unless everyone has access to a zealous advocate. We also know that lawyers alone cannot ensure access to justice. And tonight we're here to honor someone who understands that, Mary Ellen Lindemann. Mary Ellen knows that we also need zealous advocacy from the business community. As co-founder and co-owner of Coffee by Design, Mary Ellen has shown that you can run a very successful business with passion and a commitment to justice, and that this will help to build your community, which in turn will grow and sustain your business. Through Coffee by Design, Mary Ellen has provided financial and in-kind support to organizations that provide access to justice, including ILAP. But her advocacy goes far beyond that. She also uses the respect and power that she has gained to give voice and visibility to those who lack her connections. She brings together communities from around the world, both in her coffee shops and in public forums. I saw Mary Ellen at a rally where she talked about why, as a business owner, she cared about the legal rights of immigrants. I've seen her bring coffee growers, immigrants, and advocates together with local government leaders and the media to provide a platform for important voices that might otherwise remain unheard. Mary Ellen is someone who lives her life and runs her business with a commitment to community and a belief that everyone in that community deserves justice. I cannot think of a better person to be honoring this evening. I hope that you all enjoy this video as a tribute to Mary Ellen Lindemann. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Carlos KR and his team at Katama Productions for producing that lovely video. We will now briefly introduce our two speakers who know Mary Ellen well. First, we will be hearing from Alain Nahimana, Director of the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center. Alain has told me that he hates it when people talk about him. I'm sorry, Alain, for a short moment. We're going to have to do that here. Alain was born and raised in Burundi until age 14, then moved to Switzerland. He earned a bachelor's degree in business and administration from the University of Burundi. After graduating, Alain worked as a small business owner in Burundi and other parts of Africa until he came to the U.S. in 2010, fleeing political persecution in Burundi. Alain has been living in Maine since then, where he has established himself as a community leader. Previously serving as the coordinator of the Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition, Alain, of course, is now the executive director of the Welcome Center that you saw in the video, the Portland Immigrant Welcome Center. The Welcome Center acts as a hub for collaboration and opportunity for the immigrant community through language acquisition, economic integration, and civic engagement. Alain also serves on the boards of the Environmental Health Strategy Center, Youth and Family Outreach, and Maine Initiatives. Alain speaks 6 languages, lives in Biddeford, and is the father of 4, 3 sons and a daughter. Overall, Alain would love to have the title Community Builder, but as Alain says, that title has already been taken by Mary Ellen Lindemann.
After Alain, you will be hearing from Danielle Conway, Dean and Professor of Law at University of Maine School of Law. Dean Conway has taught at law schools around the world, most notably having spent 14 years at the University of Hawaii's William S. Richardson School of Law before joining us here in Maine. Her areas of expertise include torts, internet law and policy, government contracts law, and intellectual property law, and she uses that expertise to advocate for social justice. Dean Conway is a passionate advocate of what she calls social entrepreneurism, which empowers Indigenous groups by teaching them how to properly value their intangible assets and negotiate for optimal revenue streams to help make those communities sustainable. Among the many meaningful contributions she has already made to Maine in her scant 3 years here, Dean Conway has launched the Rural Practice Fellowship at Maine Law, which seeks to expand access to justice for Maine's critically underserved rural population. Dean Conway is also active in the community, serving on the boards of trustees of the Portland Museum of Art, the boards of the United Way of Greater Portland, the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Maine, and the board of the Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce. On top of all this, Dean Conway has over 27 years of active duty service, Army Reserve service, and National Guard service combined with the U.S. Army, and recently retired in the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. We're thrilled to invite Alain and Dean Conway to the stage to speak about tonight's honoree, Mary Ellen Lindemann.
Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all. Let each know that for each, the body, the mind, and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. This is a quote from Nelson Mandela's speech in 1994. I'd like to add something on the introduction by Bill. I'm one of the 3.7 million black immigrants in the United States. I'm among the 29% of black immigrants, 25 years and older, to hold a bachelor's degree. I'm among the 73% of black immigrants, 16 years and older, in the labor force. I'm one of the many for whom resilience is the only option. And I'm one of those black immigrants coming from a shithole country. On the other hand, today we are honoring Maryland, but look at what is happening around the country. I can't not talk about immigrant rights and racial justice issues. More than 1 out of every 5 non-citizens facing deportation on criminal grounds before the Executive Office of Immigration Review is black. 1 in every 3 black immigrants in the deportation proceeding in 2015 had a criminal ground of removability. Black immigrants comprise just 5.4% of the unauthorized population in the United States, and 7.2% of the total non-citizen population. But they made up a strikingly 10.6% of all immigrants in removal proceedings between 2003 and 2015, which is the biggest number on all immigrants. A black immigrant is more likely to be deported than any other immigrant. And still there's no evidence that black immigrants commit crime at greater rates than other immigrants. In the face of the increasing criminalization of the immigration enforcement system, the failure to provide a fair process to those facing expulsion from the United States is all the more disturbing. For a country that prides itself on a fair treatment under the law, the lack of due process is an embarrassment and a danger, as it demonstrates how easily civil liberties can be eroded. It should be a concern for any American who cares about equal justice under the law. These two systems of justice, as exposed by the American Immigration Council, must stop. For a person who fled political persecution, talking about access to justice in the US may trigger some, what about where you come from? Referring to Burundi, which is a dictatorship. And I think it would be appropriate to say that. But ahead of this event, I reflected and found out that the profound meaning of access to justice in the context of the United States, my new home. And I came up to this quote from Martin Luther King. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step forward, the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. As we're honoring Mary Ellen Lindemann today, I realize that at the end of the day, we're actually honoring all of you here for your dedication to justice. It's an honor for me to be here today and have the opportunity to speak in front of you. I have known Mary Ellen since 2015, and it's a big honor for me to have her as the vice chair of the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center. Mary Ellen's sense of inclusiveness and diversity is inspiring. As the saying goes, leadership is not about titles, positions, or flow charts. It's about one life influencing another, as John C. Maxwell said. As immigrants, we need to work with you all to advance our integration in American society. Immigration law is a federal issue, but immigrant integration is a local issue. It's immigrant and mainstream communities working together to address the specific challenges to integration: language acquisition, economic integration, civic engagement, and above all, citizenship. which is the ultimate protection for immigrants. These challenges are the focus of the Greater Portland Welcome Center that I have the honor to serve. That makes me wake up every morning to go to work. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you who actively work to advance immigrant rights in Maine and beyond. And as an immigrant, I have to thank ILAP for the great work ILAP does here in Maine, mobilizing all of you behind defending immigrant rights and defending people who are not read the Miranda warning when they get arrested. I remember when I was younger, watching American movies, my understanding of the American justice system was when they tell someone that you have the right and to have a lawyer and blah, 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 blah. That was my understanding that this is really a country of really great justice system. But still, immigrants who get arrested before being deported don't have the right to have a lawyer. The challenges are still there. And I came to understand, as I was telling Bill, that access to justice, I understand it, what it is now, because justice is not a destination, it is an ending journey. Mary Ellen, someone said, I don't remember who said that, the American author, who said, a good leader leads the people from above them. A good leader leads the people from within them. You are a great leader, an inspiring leader, and we are honored to have you as one of ours. And I think it's official now that you are new men at the end of the day. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. All right, all right. Phenomenal woman. I met Mary Ellen Lindemann very soon after moving to Maine in the winter of 2015. You all remember it. Mary Ellen and I hit it off immediately. Before I knew it, I was conscripted into Mary Ellen's grand plan to forge pathways of inclusion for immigrants and new Americans in Maine. But Mary Ellen did not really need to put on the hard sell. Her commitment to immigrants and new Americans resonated strongly with me because my life partner, the father of my precious Black son, was born and raised in Sekondi, Ghana. After 3 long years navigating the United States immigration maze, my husband became a U.S. citizen in 2009. Those 3 years on the journey to naturalization were some of the hardest years of my life. That said, my burden dwarfed in comparison to the burdens carried by my husband. On that journey, people helped us, advocated for us, and when necessary, defended us. It is this kind of help, advocacy, and defense that the indefatigable Mary Ellen Lindemann exhibits each day. It is that which we celebrate this evening. I would like to point out the obvious and the not so obvious. Mary Ellen is a white woman. And she is my sister. Mary Allen is a businesswoman in Maine. And she is a champion for racial, social, and economic justice. Mary Allen stands on the front lines in defense of the United States Constitution, our American democracy, and the rule of law. She has not sworn an oath to the courts or to the military. With no sworn duty other than her own conviction about her role in society, Mary Allen is the epitome of a fearless justice warrior. Senator Edmund S. Muskie would be proud. For sure, I believe Senator Muskie would be proud and excited about the two introducers this evening, me. A Black woman and Dean of the University of Maine School of Law. And Alain J. Nahimana, a Black man born and raised in the Republic of Burundi, who now serves as the Executive Director of the Immigrant Welcome Center in Portland. But he would be especially proud about the person we honor tonight, for she represents our community's collective potential to realize justice for all. Senator Muskie wrote, "American attitudes and actions with respect to Africa have important effects there and in the United States. More importantly, these attitudes and actions provide a litmus test of the nature of America's view of the rest of the world and of ourselves. If we care about people and the quality of their lives, we must care about African development, independence, and racial justice." This is our Senator, Ed Muskie. Mary Allen Lindemann lives the sentiments so humanly framed by Senator Muskie. She has used her platform as a businesswoman, community activist, leader, and sister to all of us. And the us includes our immigrant and new American brothers and sisters, people, to move the needle on justice in Maine. Mary Allen embodies the values at the core of the work of the 6 nonprofit providers of civil legal aid in Maine. Her values and her work align with the collective ethos of Pine Tree Legal Assistance, the Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project, Legal Services for the Elderly, Maine Equal Justice Partners, Maine Volunteer Lawyers Project, and of course, the University of Maine School of Law, Cumberland Legal Aid Clinic. The ethos recognizes that clients are people, and they are our neighbors. Innovation, collaboration, and coordination among advocates ensure success in an environment where resources are scarce. That justice work can be done by all of us, no matter our profession. And this justice work has both individual and community impact. And finally, advocacy on behalf of those most vulnerable among us is indispensable to the rule of law, equity and equality, fairness and justice. I'm going to end this introduction of Mary Allen with this. Each and every one of us in this room will be vulnerable at some point in time. Make no mistake. And 2 weeks ago, I was the most vulnerable. And I sat in Mary Allen's office and I told her, trusted her with my deepest feeling about the fear for my black son. This woman picked the puddle off the floor that was me and told me, keep on keeping on. This is our Mary Allen Lindemann. Thank you.
Thank you to Alana, Himana, and Dean Conway for those beautiful remarks. In keeping with tradition, I would like to welcome last year's Muskie Dinner honoree, Bill Harwood, to the stage to present this year's award to Mary Allen Lindemann.
Thank you. It is my privilege tonight to continue a wonderful, long-standing tradition of the Muskie Award. As the 2017 award winner, it is my duty here to present the award tonight to the 2018 winner. I have to admit, though, it was a lot more fun receiving the award last year than giving the award this year. As I was thinking about what to say tonight, I began thinking about the award and specifically why we all gather here each spring, year after year, to witness the presentation of this award. Surely we have other things we could be doing and other places we could be, and certainly dining at the Holiday Inn banquet room, no offense to our very hardworking staff, is not generally considered a culinary highlight of Portland. So why wouldn't we each just make a generous donation to the great cause of supporting the legal service providers and forego buying a table and attending the dinner? Why are we here? Why do so many of us come back year after year to witness a new recipient receiving the Muskie Award? I think we gather here each year because we share common values and we draw strength from each other. At a time when those values are under attack by political leaders who play to America's worst fears, we gather here to collectively renew our commitment to the simple but elegant principle of justice for all, regardless of income or wealth. We all understand that if our courthouses are only open to the rich and powerful, those who are shut out will eventually find other more destructive ways to air their grievances. We know that for this great experiment of democratic government to work, everyone, including those with little or no power or wealth, must believe that they will have their day in court should the need arise. And an important part of that process of renewing our collective commitment to justice is being inspired each year by the good deeds of that year's award recipient. If the honoree can keep it up and make time to help those less fortunate, then certainly we all should. And by making that commitment to each other, we strengthen our community. I believe it is this annual renewal of our collective vow of justice for all that is one of the great legacies of Senator Muskie, and why this award is given each year in his name. And tonight, we have an award winner who inspires us all as we celebrate our collective commitment to justice and fairness. You've heard from Elaine and Danielle about many of Mary Allen's accomplishments. Thank you both for those comments. But as eloquent as they were, it's hard to capture the full essence of Mary Allen and her many contributions in such brief tributes. I had the good fortune to meet with her a few weeks ago, one-on-one, to discuss this evening. And believe me, it was eye-opening. I wish each of you could have been there to hear the conversation. For over an hour, Mary Ellen touched on a few of the high points of her career at Coffee by Design. What unfolded was not just her remarkable story of building a highly successful business, but her personal involvement and commitment in responding to the needs of our community, including the AIDS epidemic, the challenges of struggling local artists, the needs of the mentally ill, and the plight of low-income workers. This is not one of those situations where a talented executive who is earning a big income tries to do the right thing by giving some of it to worthy charities. No, in Mary Allen's case, growing the business and addressing Portland's social needs have been intertwined into one seamless mission. Whether it be training her staff to treat mentally ill customers with the respect they deserve, helping local artists by starting the First Friday Art Walk, building a health clinic in Columbia where her coffee is grown, or paying her employees a living wage, Mary Allen has demonstrated with the right values, an entrepreneur can both be financially successful and do right by the community. For providing us all with that inspiring example, it's my great honor to present the 2018 Edmund Muskie Access to Justice Award to Mary Allen Lindemann.
Can't tell if this is a wedding or a memorial service. And then I really thought, it's like This Is Your Life with Ralph Edwards, which really dates me, and I'll have to explain to some people later what that is. There was no crowd, no media coverage, no one collecting bits and pieces of history to hold on to. There was nothing particularly remarkable, and yet everything was. The day the fence between Coffee by Design on Diamond Street and the mosque behind us came down. It's not as if we hadn't noticed each other, peering through the fence slats, watching children play, balls accidentally tossed over, thrown back, the sound of prayers weaving in and out, the hum of the roasters turning green beans to brown and black. But suddenly, we were exposed. No more hiding. A gentleman from the mosque came in one day and asked for the owner. Out I came. I went to shake his hand. He took one full step back. Obviously, I had done something terribly wrong, and I had a choice to make. Do I sneak back into my office and not ask why? Or do I ask for forgiveness and clarification? One community leader to another. Women do not touch leaders of the mosque. There are many of these snapshot moments. Access to justice happens in small gestures each and every day. What we need to understand is these little things from a kind and open heart have deep and meaningful impact. We get so caught up worrying about being politically correct. So we say nothing, missing the opportunity of bridging the gap between ourselves and those who, if we really look and dig deeper, we have so much more in common with than differ. If people who are not just like us are given the opportunity to be seen and heard, to have a seat at the table, we have made the chance for justice so much more complicated. What messages do we send without meaning every day? We need to think about who are on the boards of our organizations, who attends events. Look around. Access to justice is happening here tonight. It is important to continue to do the good work of legally ensuring the rights of those who seek asylum. Protect the future of dreamers. Stand up in court and fight for the right of a high school student to compete in a national poetry competition, which he earned the right to do. There are many of you here tonight who dedicate your lives to justice. It takes all of us. How we treat one another, welcome others into our lives. So much of what we're fighting so hard for, it's meaningless unless we, the people, all the people, carry the torch of justice every single day. Because of the work I do, I get to travel, and I'm familiar with other cultures and world events. I had no idea. I never imagined the direction my life would take when we brought a coffee in from Burundi in 2015. I decided to have a welcome ceremony, something I'd never done before. I invited Isabelle Simonier, head of the organization we bought the coffee from in Burundi. She came to Maine. I was told I had to have the Burundi drummers. Who knew Maine has Burundi drummers? In addition to the mayor of Portland, I needed to invite the local Burundi representative. The night before the event, I received an email from that representative whom I had yet to meet. He wanted to know who he was welcoming and to be sure that she was not politically motivated in coming here. It had never occurred to me to ask that question. I sent her CV and learned that the woman he was greeting had been his biology teacher in Burundi 25 years ago. And that local representative, that's how I met Alain Nehimana. A year ago, this month in fact, I traveled to Burundi to see firsthand where the coffee we buy comes from. I visited washing stations in Kayanza. I heard the drummers in the sacred site in Gashora. I met many people in rural areas in the capital city of Bujumbura. When I travel, I'm always asked where I'm from. I say Maine. And I'm asked if that's in America. This time, the response was different. By chance, are you from Portland? I met mothers uncles, best friends of people who live here now, and they cannot go back. Their world was suddenly my world. I realized how small the world really is. I must confess, before this experience, I'm not sure I had heard of Burundi. I certainly didn't know where it was. I discovered there were people in my own community I didn't know, and now we were connected. I had a little piece of home for them I could offer in a cup of coffee. Back in Maine, there was a visitor from Burundi, a name I'd not heard yet. I could feel fear amongst the local Burundians. They reached out to Shelley Pingree office to share their concerns. She replied and asked to meet at the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center. I was there to introduce the group and lead them to a conference room. I was asked to stay. I sat there and listened to their stories. I heard Pingree address them. I was so proud to see our system work. Later, a group of us went out to the local Burundi bar. Yes, there's one in Portland. And we were celebrating that someone had been granted asylum. The mood was festive. Photographs were being taken. How would I know the next day I would receive a call that some of those photographs may have found their way back to Burundi to document who is here? Many have families still there at risk. Those photos could do great harm. I was told my photo was taken also. At that moment, I felt what fear. The kind our neighbors have fled from and many still feel here. I wonder, will I ever see Burundi again? Immigrants, New Mainers, asylum seekers, whatever name we give, they believe in our system sometimes more than we ourselves do. In spite of what's happening on the national stage. They believe in our dream because we are allowed to dream. And they see the dream can become their dream too. Senator Edmund Muskie, whom we honor this evening, didn't speak of justice for some and not for others. He did not refer to our friends and neighbors from shithole countries. He said there are only two types of politics. They are not radical or reactionary, or conservative and liberal, or even Democratic or Republican. They are only the politics of fear and the politics of trust. I think about a woman at the Immigrant Center. We had worked many nights late getting ready for the opening. She said to me, "You know, you are white." It was said with no ill will or judgment. It was and still is a fact. I am white. What an honor she trusted me enough to say it out loud. If we aren't free to state the obvious, we can't get to the really deep, difficult conversations which enable us to get to the roots of justice. It is time we rebuild trust. At the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center, we talk about the power of we. Working together, we can make great things happen. I ask each of us to launch a new narrative, to tell the true story of who an immigrant is, to invite people who might not look like you into your hearts and into your homes. The imam from the mosque now comes in almost every day. It is a sign of respect for him that I do not shake his hand. He thanked Coffee by Design for creating this neighborhood, making it one of inclusion. The other day I remembered a Carly Simon song written well before we could even think about our current state of national affairs. The words are more powerful now than ever. Let the river run. Let all the dreamers wake the nation. It is our time to wake up. Hear the call to action. We are not alone. I would like to introduce you to my friends and ask that they join me here. If you please join me on the stage, Adele, Alain, Antoine, Bijou, Dama, Ebenezer, Ekalas, Kifa, Kwaku, Maria, Pius, Riza, Sonia, Walid, Zoe, Mateo, Alba, Shima, John, Marfine, Alina. Please join us as well. Thank you for allowing me into your lives, showing us what true courage is, proudly showing the face of those whom we defend and seek justice for. Together, let us wake the nation. And I think nothing more appropriate than this wake up to the nation. I guess we're all going to have coffee and dessert. And I should mention the coffee is from Burundi, so the Burundi drummers are going to lead us to dessert. And the group, just so you know, is the Timbo United. So for your next party, your parade. And also I want to let you all know that during dessert we have the good fortune of Alan, the very poet I had mentioned, the high school poet, happens to be here and is going to be reading his poem during dessert. Thank you.
So did that,
It was so good.
Was it
I know,
okay?
it was amazing.
Was it
It was
good?
so amazing. It was incredible. I loved it.
I was trying not to cry.
I memorized it, and I'm like, no.
The slideshow. I was just.
Slideshow was like very.
It was so. And then your speech was amazing. It was so
Must
good.
be the last Muskie Award ever.
Seriously, I was you drummers in the end. You know, I loved it. It was so.
And then all of a sudden I finished and like I didn't even hear them. I'm like,
They're coming.
Well, they were waiting to be sure because it would have been a disaster if
well,
they'd
no,
started
because the
early.
thing is, they're like, well, no, I told them though 3 hours early because it's African time, right?
Oh, right. No,
You know what I'm talking about. You know. I was
Well
like,
done. You were the
thank
most
you so much.
beautiful human being on the planet.
Thank you for coming.
just
And again,
really-
your message this morning has been a great deal.
This was really great. Last one.
Yes. Amazing.
What do I do? Look through it? I can do that. I can take you make class back in the day. Alright.
Are we in focus?
You appear in focus. Yay! Are we videoing?
We should dance right now.
Yeah,
Get
Dan.
our dance on. This is our.
Get your groove on.
You should come to that. You should come to Pearl after this one.
Or twirl Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen needs to be twirled.
Yeah, all right.
She needs to be twirled. This is her night.
There we go.
But somebody twirl Mary Ellen. She deserves it. Look at her outfit. It's amazing. I know she sings this.
Hey, one more time. Ready? One more time.
Gets you every time. Oh my God.
Yes, it's up. We're going to get this right. I'm sticking to the clock.
Hi, my name is Alan Monga. I'm a junior there in high school, an asylum seeker. And I just want to share this poem that I've grown feelings for. It's one of the poems that speaks to me when I recite it, and I would like to dedicate this poem to Marianne today, just to appreciate you and thank you for the work you have been doing, and yeah, enjoy. She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron, George Godin. She walks in beauty, like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one rather less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven dress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear the dwelling place, and on that cheek and all that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. Thank you.